Hello, and welcome to episode number 19 of the Between Two Brands podcast. Yeah, still here. I'm still your host, Bill Petrie. So thank you again for joining me. We've got a pretty fun show today, I think. But before we get to that, let me pay a bill or two, as I like to do. Hey, if you haven't noticed, there's been a ton of changes in the industry the past few years, and heck, the past few months, sometimes even the past few days. From big distributor moves to supplier consolidation, it's hard to keep up with it all. And frankly, that's why I'd like to start the podcast today to talk about something we don't talk often enough about in our industry, and that is stability. With all the changes that happen on a regular basis, it's just as important to talk about companies that are established, stable, and strong. And for over 90 years and four generations of family ownership, Shapenko has genuinely cared about the success of their clients. That, my friends, is the definition of stability. Another point, since they only sell through promotional products distributors, Shapenko is dedicated to doing more than just delivering quality merchandise at a fair price. They go the extra mile to ensure every distributor project is a resounding success. Honestly, it's the right way to do business, and that is how you continue to be stable and strong heading into the next 90 years. Bottom line is this: Shapenko has stood the test of time. The experience, the products, and frankly, the people are absolutely the best. Head over to shapenko.com to start your next project today. All right, as I record this, pardon me, podcast, still getting over the cold from the past couple of weeks. Um, my son is home from college, graduated from college. I have two twin boys, for those of you who don't know. One graduated from the University of Alabama with a degree in communications and a second degree in marketing. And he's been home for a couple weeks and he's busy interviewing for jobs. And I want to get to that. My other son, he is in his internship. He's an engineering major at Mississippi State, and he will graduate in December. So very, very exciting, very busy time for us. So as I mentioned, my son Mitch, he's home from the University of Alabama this summer, kind of figuring out what his next move is and where he's going to go. And so as such, as many of us have done, whether it was after high school, after college, or sometimes during your career, you apply for jobs. And he's in the midst of doing that right now. And as anybody who's ever done that, you know it's a challenge. It's a roller coaster of emotions. It's one of those things you can't really do full time. You can't do it 8 hours a day, but it feels like you have to. It's a very difficult thing. And so I wanted to talk about something I saw on Instagram Reels. I know it's a TikTok trend. I don't tick, I don't talk, but I do Instagram Reel. Same thing. I just don't like TikTok. So imagine this. You're applying for a job you're super excited about. You've brushed up your resume, you've researched the company, and then when the interview finally arrives, you realize you're talking to a chatbot. And it's not the good kind of chatbot. You know, we're talking that stiff, expressionless, and programmed to ask questions like, describe the time you demonstrated empathy with all the warmth of a Roomba. Now, this is happening more and more as AI starts to permeate, or continues, I should say, to permeate every facet of our lives. There's a woman who I saw this article, and after seeing a couple Instagram reels, I went down a rabbit hole. And a woman who was interviewed by an AI platform called Character AI. And as she was interviewing, she realized this AI, is not able to evaluate tone. It's not able to evaluate my word choice, my earnestness, empathy, understanding, or even just the overall vibe of the person. And those are those cues that when we're in the middle of hiring somebody or interviewing somebody, you try to pick up on to really try to understand who you're talking to. And there was maybe even worse, there was no feedback, no silence. Her quote, and I love this: it's called an interview, but it's just Mad Libs with existential dread. That's a horrible characterization. And the more I thought about this, and does it have anything to do with marketing and branding? Not really, but it does have thing to do with hiring. And a lot of us are in positions where we are either hiring people, evaluating people, and all this in our own businesses. And I thought, if we're not careful, and I'm not sure how careful we are being, if we're not careful, we're automating ourselves out of connection. I don't know about you, but I'm starting to get burnt out a little bit on a little bit of the automation. We want to be seen, we want to be heard, and we want to be valued. especially during a job search. The challenge is so many AI tools use these preset behavioral interview questions that without the ability, as I mentioned earlier, to pick up on any sort of nuance. Like, how do you explain the context of a messy, rocky, beautiful career pivot, maybe during COVID, to an AI trained on simply corporate buzzwords? I think the intention is good, but AI doesn't eliminate bias. It actually amplifies it. And my dad used to say, I don't quote my dad very often, but one of the things he said that really resonated with me is the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And there's so much truth into that, and especially when we talk about when AI, at least at least in the way it is now, trying to communicate, empathize, and really connect with humans, it does present a challenge. In fact, studies have shown that AI models trained on hiring data often favor male names, certain word choices, and even specific facial expressions in video interviews. So if you train an AI based on decades of biased resumes and hiring patterns, you're not fixing discrimination. You're simply just streamlining it. And that's a concern for me. I actually worry about that with my son. The interviews he's had, the conversations he's had, they have been with a human. But I anticipate as he goes through his job search this summer, until he finds his niche in marketing, which is his passion, and he's really good at it. Um, I have a feeling he's going to run into some of these AI chatbots, and I wonder how that will impact positively or negatively his job search because he's extraordinarily charismatic. He's extraordinarily gifted in terms of connecting with people. And so his superpower is, and of course, I'm a little biased, but his superpower is, man, get him in a room with somebody and he'll make that connection. It's hard to do that with something that is an artificial intelligence. I think there's a place for AI in hiring, but it has to support humans and not replace them. Things like summarizing resumes, scheduling interviews, or even suggesting relevant job openings. This frees up people to have real, frees up real people to have real conversations and real connections. We've made AI so powerful so quickly. It's time to make it as personal as possible. Now, to be clear, if Mitch ends up having an interview with Clippy from Microsoft, you have to encourage him to just go into professional sports or something, joking aside. So, interesting stuff to be sure. Hey, before we get to our amazing guest today, and I think you guys will enjoy that, do you know what season it is? That's right, it's business valuation season. Now, perhaps you don't know what your company is worth. Maybe it's been more than a few years since you've had your last valuation and you need a new benchmark to see if your company is increasing in value. Heck, you might just want to see if it's time to sell your business. Now, regardless of the reason, Jamie Watson and the experts at Certified Marketing Consultants have extensive experience in the world of branded merchandise and the financial knowledge necessary to provide a fact-based valuation of your business. Simply email them at info@certifiedmarketing.com for a confidential discussion today. All right, that's enough of me. Let's get to our guest today. All right, our first guest today, our only guest today, I don't know why I say first guest. Our guest today needs no introduction, but I like to waste people's time. I'm going to introduce her anyway. She is here to be your branding bestie, following in the footsteps of her family legacy. Now, you may know her as the daughter of one Kirby Hasseman. I don't know who that is, so I'm curious to find out that a little bit. But she's working hard to make it so that people know him as her dad. She started out as an administrative assistant at Hasseman Marketing and has since expanded her role to include outside sales and social media manager. She is establishing herself by creating engaging content that helps Hasseman Marketing stand out. Please join me in welcoming the one and only Jade Crider. Jade, thank you so much for, I don't know why you're doing this podcast. You're far more elevated than you need to
I
be
don't
on
know
this
about
podcast,
that.
but thank you.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to switch roles with my dad. I get to be here for once, so it's fun.
You do. I'm actually going to be speaking with him next week. We're going to be talking about the PPAI 100, a little tease there. So it's all Hasseman all the time here on the Between Two Brands podcast. So
Love it.
I think you know the drill. You might have a question or two you have for me, and
I
then I have
do.
five very simple, very easy questions for you, so we can get to know you a little bit better.
I'm excited about it, and I'm hoping the background noise is not too loud for you. So we're gonna start off strong. So, my dad has mentioned to me, and he actually gave me one of your tips. You are pretty good at AI. You kind of know what's going on with AI. And one of the tips that he shared with me was asking what other information do you need to complete this task.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was like a game changer for me. That like completely flipped the way that I use AI, and I've been loving that. So I wasn't sure if you have any like other tips for AI or any mistakes to avoid or just anything that you love about AI.
Yeah, I love that question. I don't believe AI is going to replace people. I think AI will
Hmm.
replace people who don't leverage AI as a tool. And so
Yeah.
at 55, I've gone all in on AI. Not that I use it to do my job, but I use it to make me more efficient. I use it to make me better at my job. Excuse me. And to answer your question, so you've heard me talk about AI and that one
Yes.
thing,
Hmm.
always ask when here's my request, here's how I want you to act, and then ask me any clarifying questions before proceeding.
Hmm.
I've augmented that a little bit and started suggesting I need you to write this in a certain tone and style. I need you to
Oh.
be, I've even gotten to the point where I will suggest I need you to act more human. Um,
Oh, interesting.
because it's so programmed to be robotic. That's what it's
Hmm.
programmed to be, and it's
Hmm.
programmed to be whatever you need to be. So I try to treat it like a human being. So when I'm conversing with uh, Chat GPT, which I've heavily leveraged, I
Hmm.
treat it like a person. I've given it a name. I've created a specific GPT within
Okay.
ChatGPT for every client. So the first thing I do
Oh,
when I onboard a client, after I work with the client, I spend about an hour to an hour and a half with ChatGPT, telling it
interesting.
how I want the responses. I upload brand guidelines, I upload
Hmm.
brand voice, and talk about how this should work, certain words and phrases to avoid, certain words and phrases to lean
Interesting.
into, and it really helps refine messaging. So
Hmm.
AI is still very much garbage in, garbage out. If you
Hmm.
ask ChatGPT or any other AI model, if you ask it
Hmm.
something plain and vanilla, you're going to get plain and vanilla answers. A great example is when you do a Google search and you see the automatic AI responses, most of them are garbage.
Hmm.
But the more you treat it like a human,
Hmm.
and it works better. And if you don't like the response, you can say, I need you to be more human here. This doesn't feel relatable
Hmm.
in the way I think my clients would appreciate that. Can you help me refine this? It is deferential because it's programmed to be,
Yeah.
but it will be what you need it to be. Think of AI like this unmolded lump of clay. And
Hmm.
every time you interact with it, you're positioning it a little differently. And so I swear by every client having a specific GPT so I can
Uh-huh.
work with that, and then just treating it like a human, treating it like you
That's
would a human being.
mhm. That's really cool. It's funny because the other day I asked it to do something and it of course was not doing at all what I wanted it to do because there's
Right.
some days it works and some days it doesn't. And ironically we had the conversation. I was like, clearly I am not telling it the right thing because this is just not work.
Right.
Like it's me because it's a robot. So I'm the problem
Right.
here. So that's an
Well,
interesting perspective.
you can also say, how can I modify my prompt to optimize the results I'm getting from you?
Ooh, I
Because that's
like
basically what you're
that.
saying. I'm not giving you what you
Uh-huh.
need.
Right.
Again, treat it like if you think about it, it's very difficult because you're talking to a computer screen and some
Hmm.
server in the middle of Van Nuys, California,
Hmm.
wherever it's at.
Right.
If you just think about if you're communicating with your husband or with your dad or your mom,
Hmm.
and there's that communication gap. It happens to all of us.
Hmm.
When you say, "Look, I'm trying to get a point across here. What do you need from me?"
What are we missing?
Ask ChatGPT or AI the same thing, and you'll be
Okay.
amazed by the responses. They'll say, "If you could do this." Another quick tip. One thing I've really noticed with AI, especially ChatGPT, is that it is man, you write something, it'll say, man, this is awesome. This is the best thing ever. You are going to connect. You're going to run it out of the park.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Mm,
So when I'm asking it to review something I write,
mm,
I absolutely say, I need you to be critical. I need you to be thoughtful and intentional,
mm,
helping me make this better. And it will say, here's things I liked, here's things that you could refine. And
mm.
it's more constructive criticism because
Uh-huh.
ChatGPT is terrible at that unless you give it
Yeah,
the permission
it's
to
your
do
hype
so.
man for sure, but sometimes
Hmm.
to a fault. Like it can be both ways. So
100%.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
I love that. That was really good. I told you I was excited about these. So that one I was really
Yeah,
excited for. So my
absolutely.
next topic,
Yep.
you and Kirby have done this a couple times before, so I'm doing it back to you. So we're gonna do a couple
Yes. Okay.
rapid fire
All
questions.
right. All
Okay.
right. Let's go.
So we're starting
Let me
strong.
ask real quick.
Yeah,
Are there any wrong answers?
there's no wrong answers. No wrong answers
Excellent.
ever. So you're
Excellent.
good.
Excellent.
Okay, are you
Sweet.
ready? We're starting
I'm
this.
ready. I'm
What
ready.
is
Let's go.
one Gen Z trend that you just simply can't get behind and don't understand?
The I can't get past the priority a lot of Gen Z people put on their devices as opposed to humans in front of them.
Love that. That's a good one. Okay. What is one song that encaptures your childhood?
Oh man. Good Day Sunshine by the Beatles.
I
I
love
grew
it.
up in Texas. I love the sun. I love being outside. Good Day Sunshine.
I love it. Text or call?
Depends. I both. I know that's
Okay.
not an answer, so you can yell at me I'm wrong. I've done it to your dad many times. Texts are fine, but when things start getting complicated, just pick up the phone because it can be a 5 minute conversation. I do get tired of like text strings that last 45
Mhm.
minutes. Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing here?
Mhm. Yeah, I get that. I like that. It's a good answer. Mornings or nighttime?
Mornings.
Like it.
I don't sleep a ton.
Mm.
I tend to get if I get 5 hours a night, man, I'm cooking. That's great.
Okay.
But I get up early. I do my run. I think you've heard me say this. I have about
Hmm.
2.5 hours in the morning. That's my time. Nobody
Hmm.
else's. It's not my
Hmm.
wife's. It's not my kids. It's not my clients.
Yes.
It's my time. I do what I
Hmm.
want.
Love it. What's your comfort show?
Like TV show,
Yeah,
The Office. Can't go wrong with The Office.
that's such a valid one. What's your favorite social media platform?
Because I'm an old, probably Facebook because I'm most comfortable with it.
Wrong.
Although Instagram's making some wrong. Although Instagram's making some strides. I don't tick. I don't talk. I just don't like the
Wrong.
Chinese part of the platform. I know
Yeah, that's
wrong.
totally valid.
But where Instagram's really making strides for me, I do like Instagram Reels, which is essentially
Yeah.
TikTok. All the TikTok content is on
Hmm.
Instagram Reels, so I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. It's not.
No, 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 no. I'm
Oh,
agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you.
yeah.
My husband is actually the same way. He won't get on TikTok, but he scrolls reels for
Yeah.
hours. So we're a
Yeah.
split household.
Yeah, I'll scroll some reels, but I don't TikTok. I don't like the platform. And I don't like the data leakage.
That's fair. And final one is what's your go-to way to unwind?
Oh, that's easy. The back 40, my backyard, music
Mm.
going, smoke rolling, cooking something. Nothing better. Nothing better.
I love it. That's all I've got for you.
It's my, okay. All right. I love the rapid fire. I
I thought
love
that
the
was
rapid
fun.
fire.
I
That was very fun. Okay. That was
learned from the
great.
best.
From your dad. You're right.
From
All right.
you. From you
Okay.
both.
I have some very easy questions here I'd like to ask
Love it.
so that we can all get to know you a little bit better.
Love it.
First things first, Jade. Your dad was my podcast partner for almost a decade. And now he has a shiny new podcast called Better Merch, Better Marketing with You.
He
Is
does.
this a branding move or should we just call it what it is? A full blown media custody battle where I only get visitation rights at trade shows and other industry events?
It's that one. The second option.
Okay.
It's the second option for sure, without a doubt. I took custody.
Yeah, you
I got
did.
jealous and I had
No.
to take him.
How do you like podcasting every week with your dad?
It's been really fun. It's I thought it would be very awkward. I think it's similar to when you go to do any of these type of things. It feels like it's going to be very awkward and then you get on and it just feels like we're having a conversation. So I've honestly
Yeah.
really I enjoy doing it. It's just a fun
Your
conversation.
your dad is very gifted in terms of making someone feel very comfortable in an
Hmm.
uncomfortable situation, which is looking at a camera and all that.
Hmm.
And obviously, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree because I've seen
Thank
many of
you.
the episodes. I can't say that I've seen all of them,
It's fair.
but I've seen many of them. And you've grown in your
Thank you.
confidence and your comfort level, and you're more you now. I've known you
Thank
what,
you.
a long time.
Yeah.
You're more you now than you were in episode one or two.
Yeah.
So I love
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
All right. Jade, working in a family owned business must be rewarding. You get to build something meaningful, share wins with loved ones, and hear things like, well, that's not the way Kirby does it. What's the one thing people don't realize about working in an organization where your holiday dinners double as strategy meetings?
Ooh, that's a good one. Hmm. One thing people don't realize is Kirby is pretty good about treating everybody very fairly. I think there's a lot of times the misconception that I am spoiled and get a little bit of extra, he's nicer to me. Not that he's not nicer to me. He's great. He's the best dad ever. However, he's also almost more willing to get on me about certain things and tell me bluntly, whereas other people, he is really good at treating everybody very equally. And so multiple people have been like, "Well, you can get away with that," and I'm like, "Nope, nope." He's going to be on me possibly more than everybody else because he has higher expectations. And so I think sometimes people have that backwards. He's got higher
I
expectations for me in the best way.
yeah, I love that answer. And he doesn't treat people fairly. He dumped me very unceremoniously for you. All right, number three. You recently unveiled your alter ego, the branding bestie. But let's be honest, you're basically a brand therapist with much better style and lighting. Are you offering genuine marketing support or subtle interventions for client merch ideas that are stuck in peak fidget spinner era?
I'm trying. That's actually the hope. The hope is that I'm trying to show some different stuff. I say a lot. I've said it in a lot of different videos that I've posted. I've said it in a lot of client meetings and people laugh at me. I won't sell you a cheap pen. If you ask me for it, I will absolutely write the order. It's whatever. I won't show it
Sure.
to you. My goal is like,
Right.
like part of the reason I kind of did branding bestie, it was inspired by Merch Girly. And
Hmm.
so she has been a huge inspiration to me and she's been really awesome to kind of help me grow and inspire me and things like that. But my goal was simply to be like, we don't have to do the cheap pen. We can do the lip balm that's really nice and that people keep. My goal is to show newer, not always trending, yes, trending, but just things that people won't throw away. I'm trying to get rid of some of the brand fill and show more
Yeah.
meaningful items, I guess you could say. That's
Yeah.
the
Well, it's
goal.
fun. And you know what Merch Girlie's doing and what you're doing, and a lot of people of your
Hmm.
generation are doing. God, makes me sound old when I say your generation, but I love it because I used to say, you know, people act like we're solving these big problems and all that. And in many ways we are, but we're in a fun industry. We don't sell ball
Hmm.
bearings. We don't sell missile parts. We,
Yeah.
as your dad would say, we deliver marketing joy. Or as
Hmm.
I like to say, you know, we give people decorated nuggets of awesomeness.
Hmm.
And we should have the same joy. I say that a lot
Hmm.
in the talks I give. That you know we get jaded very easily. Pardon the pun. We get jaded in this
Hmm.
industry, and I ask people all the time at distributors when I'm at a trade show is when you hit that show floor tomorrow, try to look at the trade show and the merchandise there like the first time you walked into one of those things because it's
Hmm.
magical. It's amazing when you
Hmm.
really take the time to do that.
Well, and
So I
it's funny
love
because
what you're doing.
we were talking on our podcast about delivering marketing joy is the Hasseman marketing slogan, and it's true. It's like you get all the merch in for an event, and it feels like Christmas morning. And so the goal is truly just to make it feel like Christmas morning. I want you to be as excited about the merch as I am. So that's really the goal in the end.
100%. And I've asked this rhetorically in front of an audience saying, you know, how many
Mhm.
people do you know people who are wildly successful when they're jaded about what they do? And I
Hmm.
don't know anybody. And so when we present products and merchandise and you know, we can put your logo on any of this stuff as opposed
Right.
to going in with that magic and mystery that we
Hmm.
can inject because of our own enthusiasm, that's where we
Hmm.
win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
I like that one. That was a good
Okay.
one.
Question number four. A
Okay.
few years back, you and your sister Skylar joined my sons Drew and Mitch on an episode of Unscripted to discuss how to market Gen Z at the time. Back then, all four of you were basically an unpaid focus group, wrapped up in teenage angst. Looking back, how accurate do you think your Gen Z insights were? And do you feel personally responsible for the rise of TikTok dances, emotional support water bottles, and calling literally everything a vibe?
This is fantastic. Because what's funny is I had to be reminded that we did that the other day. I have completely wiped that from my memory. I feel like that was one of those things that dad was like, hey, so you're doing this. And I was like, oh, okay. And now as an adult, I'm like, I want to do it. That sounds fun. I'm excited.
Yeah,
So it's funny how that
yeah.
changes. Um, I feel like I did a great job. I don't remember at all what I said, but I'm sure I did fantastic. I think I set a great expectation for what was
I
coming.
I think you all did great. I haven't seen it in years. I know I don't think my kids remember doing it either.
I think we got to go
But it
back and
was
watch it
something.
now.
Yeah, Kirby and I were really excited about it, and the lack of enthusiasm from the four of you was uh, really disheartening. I have to say, no one really wanted to be there
I
except for
think we
Kirby and I.
traumatized you and Kirby. And so now you just won't ask us to do that kind of thing ever
Yeah,
again.
I was about to say, hey, were you asked back? And the answer is no. I should tell you
No.
everything you need to know.
Yeah, that answers it. That's
All
hilarious.
right. Last question, and I need you to pay attention to this one because I'm going to
Okay.
speak to you from the perspective of your generation.
Okay.
Jade, no cap. You and I were on this panel once about working across generations, and honestly, you ate like no crumbs. You were giving main character energy, and I was just up there serving dadcore realness and pretending I knew what Riz meant. Looking back, what was the vibe check for you? Did the panel slap? Was it a low key glow up moment for your confidence, or were you just silently screaming, I can't with this man? And when I started with the old man corporate speak, like, let's circle back and synergize our deliverables across our cross functional partners, did you understand me?
I just, I think I just shed a tear. That's the best thing
Because it
I've
was
ever
so
heard in my
bad?
entire life. No, you killed it. It was a vibe. You did so good.
Okay. Okay,
I think the
good.
panel went well. I thought the panel was
Yeah.
great. I was the
Yeah.
baby. I was the wee
Yeah.
little lad on that panel.
Yeah, the panel was a lot of fun. So it was
Yeah.
me, Jade, and Alex Pascal just talking about
Hmm.
communicating cross generations.
Hmm.
And it didn't hit me until I stood on that stage or sat on the
Hmm.
stage. Like, shit, I'm the old one here. It's like
I'm
quite
the
literally the
old.
first time that's ever hit me. And I felt old. But it was really cool because hearing
Hmm.
from, I know what my perspective is and how I
Hmm.
try to communicate to different
Hmm.
generations. And first of all, you did very well. You were nervous, and in all
I was
transparency,
very
you were super
nervous.
nervous about it, but you did
Very.
fantastic. Alex did fantastic. And what I
Hmm.
took away from it is, man, not only is the future of the entire world and the industry in great hands, I
Hmm.
felt like very small that I'm like, I think the way I approach communicating with different generations actually works because
Hmm.
we got a lot of agreement up there. There wasn't a
Hmm.
lot of, oh, shut up, old man. Maybe silently there was. And
Hmm.
so, even though I don't know what Riz means, and I don't really want to know what Riz means because honestly, it makes me very tense.
Fair.
Um, yeah, but it was fun and you did great. You did great. So
Yeah, I
did you like
think
my, go ahead.
first of all, that was phenomenal. That was fantastic. That was the highlight of my day, hands down. I started the day with
Excellent.
rotten eggs. That was fantastic. Legitimately made accidental rotten eggs, but that's not the point. It's disgusting. I think that panel was very eye-opening for me as well.
Hmm.
Because number one, I think some people wanted you to have a little bit of a different perspective as being the old on the
I think
stage. And it
so.
was funny because I think I view you and my dad and a couple other people that are Gen X as not Gen X.
Yeah.
And so I think sometimes it's funny because I think some people wanted you to kick back on some of the things of like, no, you shouldn't work from home. But when in reality, you were like, hey, I work from home. Like, it's great. There's no problem with
Yeah.
it. And so I think it was a very interesting panel, partially because we all did have an agreement and I have extra respect. I already had a lot of respect for you, but in those moments where you're like, oh yeah, no, he's just being a good human and just going with the flow. Like that's
Well,
all it is. Like,
thank you. That's very kind. My philosophy is very simple. Look, age is look, when I run some days I feel very much 55. But
valid.
in terms of evolution, in terms of my
Hmm.
mental takeaway from things and how I view certain
Hmm.
things, that is a mindset. I can
Hmm.
stop. Look, there are many people my age who look at AI as this giant threat. Let's use that as an example. It's a giant threat and it's going to put me out of business and they don't know what to do, and that's fine.
Hmm.
Please, I want as many people to do that as possible because it makes me,
Hmm.
it'll make me more successful. So seriously, anybody in my age group, AI is very scary. Don't go near it. Very bad, bad,
It
very
is a
bad.
thing. Yeah.
It is. But I can either stick my head in the sand and pretend it's not going to
Hmm.
happen, or accept it and try to learn from it. And I've chosen to follow the latter. And I I don't like when there'll be a time. It happens to everybody. It'll happen to
Hmm.
me. It'll happen to your dad. Happen to you. It'll happen to my kids. There
Hmm.
comes a time where like, okay, I'm really set in my ways here. I don't have the mental energy to learn something
Hmm.
completely new.
Yes.
I'm not there yet, and I don't
Hmm.
know when that is, but I do think when
Hmm.
that day happens, and it does happen to all of us, that's when you truly begin to die. And I
Hmm.
refuse to do that. I keep
Well, I
learning,
think
and
you'll
it
probably
keeps
get
my
to about
perspective fresh.
104 before that happens. So I think you're good.
We'll see. We'll see. So let me ask you before I do our final sponsor read, Jade. Did
Yeah,
that slap? Did we slap?
it slapped for sure. It was a
Super.
vibe.
You know, you know what else is a vibe? Our good pals over at Shapenko. You know what?
Heck
They've been
yeah.
doing things the right way for 90 years, 4 generations of family ownership. They really define stability because they care about the success of their clients. And again, they only sell through promotional products distributors. What more could you want? They care about making sure you get the great merchandise solutions at a fantastic price, and they stand behind every single thing that they do. Learn more about Shapenko over at shapenko.com. Jade Crider, thank you so very much for taking the time and being on this dumb podcast. I
Thanks
certainly
for having me.
appreciate it. Absolutely. And we'll have to do it again soon.
Yes.